And I make my wife, she sleeps next to the window because, aliens.
What's crack-a-lack and mofos? We're back with another episode of World 1-1 Podcast. As always, you can and should find us live and kicking at our home at world11.podbean.com, all spelled out, all one word. And for your audio listening pleasure, you can pick us up not only at our home at Podbean, but also Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Or if you can't get enough of our ugly mugs in your face, you can always, tune in and pick us up on the YouTubes and check out all the fun stuff we have going on our Twitch channel as well. On the back end of that too, just, for fun shit here and there. We're also around on Facebook and Twitter. So there you go. That's all that bullshit out of the way. Which means we get to the fun shit, which means, as always,
choose your fighter!
I am your host, Larry the Bearded Wonder. Joining me this evening off camera is Kathy.
Hey, what's up?
And on camera is Josh.
Hello.
So we have fun games to talk about, and I cannot wait to actually get into the meat and taters of this, because yeah, it's gonna get morbid. So let's jump right to it with
Oh my gosh!
Video games.
Kathy. What the fuck have you been playing?
Surprisingly not much since we last recorded. With new job and everything, I just haven't been able to sit down and play. And the only thing I played was a little bit of Fortnite, and that was it. I did some custom solos and got my ass handed to me several times. And then the last game, I won, so. But other than that, just stuff on my mobile, Dr. Mario, some other
How was that new game that you tried out earlier, a couple days ago? What was it, Waiting Room Simulator?
Oh, that one actually went perfectly. Yeah. Okay, so for context, yesterday, Tuesday, I got into an accident. Ladder fell into the middle of the highway. It was one of those where if I went to the left to avoid it, I would have smacked into a wall. If I went to the right, I would have smacked into a car. So, the best course of action was just try to slow down and hopefully, because, we were all braking, so, and then I got rear-ended, so, yeah. And my neck is hurting, my back is hurting, and I went to the hospital just to make sure, and I had a great picture of me in a neck brace, which was wonderful. That thing hurt.
I now have that picture, too.
I know.
That could be the thumbnail for this week's episode.
If it is, I'm going to seriously come up to... I will make that drive up to where you're at, Larry. I will pour
We'll blur out your face. We'll blur out your
I will
face.
pour glitter, not only on you, but on your couch, on your keyboard, on your chair, on your carpet. Every fucking where we will have glitter.
Okay.
Just telling you. There will be glitter all over your house. You will never be able to get rid of all of it. I will put it in your car. I will put it in the grass outside around your house. It will be in I will put glitter so that it comes out of the sink. Because I know how to do that. You will be so sorry.
Sorry or sparkly?
Oh, both.
Might be worth it,
It might be, actually. It'd be kind of fun to watch Larry lose it over that. But anyhow. But yeah, that was the only other game I played. So, well, I do have some new stuff going to try. Like I said, there's a new Battle Royale I want to try out, Realm Royale. some other stuff that I've got in the waiting room. Plus, I got to finish Doom. I got to finish Rhyme. So, I got a list of games. We'll get there. But that's it.
Yeah,
I'm
really
bored this
pumped
week.
to. I'm really pumped to actually see you get through Rhyme. I think you're gonna absolutely love the rest of it.
Yeah, I just got to find the time. And
I take that back. You're gonna hate the next chapter, but you'll love everything
Well,
after.
yeah. Well, chapter 2. That's why I think I'm hesitating, because it's like I got into chapter 2 and I'm like, ugh. I could already tell I'm about it, and I've just been trying to push myself to get back into it, and I just haven't had the desire. So, and same with Doom. I did play for a little bit, and then I kept dying, and I'm like, fuck this game. But
Sometimes it's all about just being in the right headspace for it.
well, that's just it. I
Yeah.
just haven't, and frankly, I haven't really been into playing many games either, so that's been an issue. So,
I think everybody hits that phase once in a while.
yeah.
I know I have.
I think it's just, it seems like it usually hits me right at the end of summer for some reason. I don't know why. But that's a good sign, because then that means the colder weather's coming, so.
Which means we all have an excuse to hide inside and do nothing but play video games.
Exactly. Well, yeah. I do like being outdoors in the wintertime, though.
Or, I say, if you really want a challenge, you go sit outside and play your Switch outside, and you keep going until your thumbs are fucking numb from the cold, and you can't feel anything, and then keep playing. Then you pick, like, the hardest game you can, and see how far you can get under those circumstances as a brand new breed of challenge.
Okay. Oh, that does remind me. I did play Tetris 99 as well.
Yeah?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Check out any of the new stuff? Is that out yet?
No, because you gotta buy it. It's not part of the online features. I don't have the actual. Yeah, okay. So Tetris 99, if you want to get the extra content, you have to buy Tetris 99 to play offline. The only thing available online are the battle modes, the 2 battle modes that they have.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I thought they had some of that on the... Huh.
Nope.
Be damned.
Nope. You can get like different like skins, I guess is the best way to say it. So you can earn those. So different backgrounds, different music. Like we have a Splatoon one, we have an old Game Boy one. They have a Zelda, a Mario that you can unlock. They've got all different ones. And so you can still unlock those with the online. But yeah, any of these extra game modes, if you pay attention, you actually have to buy the physical. Well, not the physical, but you have to actually buy the game.
Right. Though part of me is inclined to buy the physical.
It's not a bad game. I mean, it's fun doing the battling, and if anything, it's a good puzzler. It's like the old Tetris, and you know, it's very reminiscent of what I used to do with the original Tetris game on the NES. I used to challenge myself by going through level 9. You know how they would have the B mode where they would add, depending on what level you know, how your difficulty.
Yeah.
Would determine how high up the blocks would be staggered for your challenge.
Right.
Okay.
So, and I used to see how far I could get and how long I could go and stuff like that. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's very similar to that. The only thing is with this, you have people fighting against you, and you can send blocks to them. They can send blocks your way. They can fuck with your game. You know, cause lines to appear. And you could be doing really well, and then all of a sudden you get bombarded by like 20 people, and then you're done.
Yeah.
And you have like no chance. But yeah, it's not a bad game. It's like one of those time wasters. You know, a few minutes, play it, you're good to go. And then you find out you've been playing it for 2 hours because you're just like, one more game.
Yeah.
I did really well. One more game.
Like, I'm definitely getting it this time. Yep. Know that feeling. Been there.
Oh, and we also got the Super Nintendo games online too. So
Oh,
we started
yeah.
playing some of those for the Switch, the online store, which is kind of nice. They had some different games than what was on the Classic, but
Some of them. Which ones have you been playing?
which one did I start playing? Started with Super Mario World. God, what was... I can't remember. I went into one because I'd never heard of it, and then I got back out of it real quick because I was like, I suck at this. Oh, Zelda. Oh no, I did that last week. Never mind. I'm trying to remember all the games. I'm out of it tonight. I
So,
still have to finish Legend of Zelda.
That reminds me, should we expect to be seeing a Link to the Past on World 1-1 Plays?
I can totally do one. I did start the Light World on my personal channel, but I definitely can do a link between that one. Whatever game. Yes, I will do a Link to... Was it a Link to the Past? Why am I thinking you said
Yeah, it's
Between
Link to the
Worlds?
Past. Link Between Worlds was 3DS.
Yeah, I know. That you did say Between Worlds. Okay.
Did I?
No, I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyhow, yes, I would be more than happy to do that. I would actually like to play some of the old classic games on our channel. Especially, I would like to do a Final Fantasy 6, 3, whatever you want to call it, run.
Right.
And because I've never finished that game.
Really?
I always get to the World of Chaos, and then I would just never be able
Never
to finish
finish it. Yeah.
Never. So that's one, and it can be boring, it can be with the leveling and everything, but it's still worth it, I think. It's not that bad. I see a lot of people playing it actually on the stream. So
I'd be down with that. That would be fantastical.
yes. But that's it. That's all I got. Pretty easy this week.
And Josh, what are you been playing? I know some of what you've been playing. We started talking about that shit a little bit. What? Tell the peoples.
Okay, so I started Blasphemous, but I have
Yes.
not. I did not play very much. I like it. I think it has some flaws, but I'm okay to overlook that. I'm not really nitpicky on it. I think it's a good game. It's going to be a solid game once I get into it. But Gears 5 has pretty much just ratcheted me back into Gears, and I'm really, really liking it. I'm liking the story. You can see it's on the TV in the back, but I'm only on chapter 2 of the. I have not played much multiplayer yet. I'm one of those guys. I like to finish a campaign before I go into multiplayer because
Amen.
I just don't like.
I never understood that. Like, I just spent $60 on the new Call of Duty, and I'm gonna completely skip the game and just go play online. Like, what the?
Yeah, they're
Seriously.
those people are the reason that that they're thinking about cutting out single player campaign. So
It's because people find the playing with their friends more enjoyable, and that's
Right.
really what it is.
the thing is with Gears is really nice is the campaign you can play with the 4 people with you.
Right.
Co-op
which I'm
through the
surprised
campaign.
that Call of Duty didn't do that.
Yeah, I know, and even the new Call of Duty, I listened to a interview and they said it is a total single player experience to play the campaign.
Interesting choices all the way around.
Anyway, I mean, I'm sure the multiplayer is awesome. I played a little bit of Horde mode, just like 25-30 minutes. I really like it. I played Escape a couple of times. I really like that mode. But I just want to finish this campaign because it's just hooked me. So
Gears is not my thing, but the Escape thing actually looked neat. I'm like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's a good concept. I mean, in case people don't know that Gears pretty much did invent the Horde mode of like everything with Gears 2. So, and yeah, they polished it up for Gears 3 and 4. And so this one is a little more of that polish, which is good. But so Escape, I'm excited to get into because they're like no more than 15 minutes to play around, so that's nice.
Okay.
Like if you only have an hour or so, in multiplayer, you don't want to always just sit there for hours on end.
Right. I will say, I think my favorite iteration of anything Horde mode was honestly Transformers: Fall of Cybertron. Their take on Horde mode,
yeah.
I really loved.
That was good. I remember that.
So, but
Honestly, that's pretty much it for me.
so I got questions for you
Okay.
because it's going there anyways. One, how far into Blasphemous are you? Like, what have you hit?
Okay, I can't really remember much. I played about an hour and I just kind of like been banging around with it. I'm trying to remember the exact place I got to, and I can't. So
that's
got
not unreasonable because the names are all fucking weird.
Yeah,
and
they are.
Like
yeah,
all heavily Spanish Catholicism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do love the set. I love
I
the
do
idea of it. I love all that stuff. So I'm trying to find like a little list so I can see where I got to, but I can't really remember.
Let's see. It starts with the Holy Line, and then you get into Albero, which is the little city at the beginning.
Yeah.
And you move
I know
through there.
I'm
Yep. Wasteland of the Buried Churches comes after that. Let's see here.
And I'm no farther than that. I know that.
Okay. Yeah, because Wasteland of the Buried Churches is where it splits off and lets you go in multiple directions.
Yeah, you can choose.
Oh. Yep. But and really, you can go in multiple directions, but there's really only 2 directions to go at the beginning, which is either up or down.
Right.
Because if you can plow forward, but it won't let you get anywhere because there's a gated section that you have to get through the 3 visages first.
Yeah. The only real complaint so far that I've had with the game is...
That was going to be my next question, is what were your nitpicks here? I'm
my
curious.
My nitpicks are the combat mechanics. I think they could be a little more fine-tuned.
How so?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not really I can't really pick like an exact thing. I just think it's just a little clunky for me. And I think the randomization of some of the stuff, especially like enemies, is not the best. But I like it. I like so far I like it. I just want to get a little farther and see if it starts if I just get into it more. It just might be me,
I'm just curious because the enemies aren't random by any means. So I'm kind of...
Yeah, I know. But I just think that they could be a little more less it's like way too easy for me to say, okay, this is how it's going to be. So I just think maybe if it was took a little more freedom with the genre a little bit. But other than that, I mean, it's a great game.
Okay.
I mean, for the money I paid for it, I'm fine with it.
So I was just curious. So that's a big part of where my week has been, is on Blasphemous. I did, before I get into that, because that's really going to be the meat and taters of this conversation for me, truth be told. So, I mean, if this is not a thing you're interested in, you may as well just check out for about the next 15 minutes. Fuck it. You've been warned. So, I did wrap up SteamWorld Dig 2 last night. The file is uploading as we speak, or it's uploaded. It's processing now, and it's getting posted. Recording time tomorrow. Show posting time yesterday. Work that one out. Time travel. Yay! So, yes.
Okay,
Kathy.
before you go any further, Josh, did you have any other games that you wanted to talk about? Because I think Larry forgot to ask if you were done.
No, that's it.
Okay, just making sure.
I heard the end of that.
I didn't hear the end of it. I did not. So that's why I was just checking.
So.
Okay, I'm going back into my mute mode and leaving you both at it. Goodbye.
No.
Fuck you.
So yeah.
Here
finish up.
All right.
That was weird. I thought I heard it for like half a second.
Yeah, I did too.
Okay. So I finished up SteamWorld Dig 2. What else did I play? I'm trying to think. I know I've done something else. Oh, yeah. I did dink around with some more Robot Named Fight again.
Okay.
Like I said, I've made little bits of progress. I'm still trying to get a handle on the coolant sewers, which it presents its own challenge in trying to do so, because every time you die, you're starting over again, and you're just beginning to push into that. And
Yes. Yep.
So that's part of what makes that a little difficult. I do kind of wish that there was. That'd be a great piece of DLC, honestly. Would be a mode where you can turn off the roguelike
Element.
function of the game. Yeah. Well, no, I mean there are save points in the game,
right?
And you could lock it into a map and just run it like a regular Metroidvania game without the roguelike on whatever map randomly pulls up, and that way you kind of get an opportunity to get a little better handle on an area and its peculiarities, because each area has them. I would actually really like that. I'd pay like an extra $5 in DLC for that. Hey Matt, if you're listening, I'll pay you money for this. So, but yeah, that's but no, the big one for me, and I also picked up another one that I have yet to crack open, but it was like a 73-cent game or something. It was called Defunct, and it looked interesting.
Oh, you haven't played that yet?
No, I haven't.
I think I might have played that. Let me look. I gotta look it up.
It's the one with the robot that has like the single wheel instead of feet. It looks pretty cool. So, and I'm like, for 73 cents, I will totally jump on that train, which will lead us into some of our conversation in the third half of the show as well. But in any case, yeah. So the big the big time sink for me here this week has been Blasphemous. Oh, it's so been Blasphemous. So Josh talked a little bit about it, but where did you? Oh, good Lord.
That's cat.
We're gonna put it back again, or we'll see anyways. But so Blasphemous has just absolutely grabbed me. For a little more detail for anybody that hasn't seen yet, it is a thoroughly tough as nails Metroidvania with a wonderfully just disturbing, morbid, macabre kind of Spanish Inquisition, real heavy on the Catholicism, Christianity, religious iconography. I mean, it leans into it full tilt. The whole Old English dialogue and everything. I really like too. One of my favorite things that's been recurring is this character. I can't think of his name, but it's somebody or other from the Order of the. Was it the Order of the Prostrate? I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look carefully, because again, it's all pixel art, and it's gorgeous work.
Yeah,
too.
it's really well done. Yep.
Even like in pixel art, the cinematics are phenomenal, of which there are numerous throughout so far. But this dude, and you never really get a close-up of him in a cinematic, at least not that I've seen yet. But so you kind of have to look carefully to decipher exactly what the hell's going on with this guy. But this dude is like bent at the waist at like a 90-degree angle, and his hands are bound behind his back with rope, and he's forced to stay bent over, prostrate like that, because hanging from his neck is this ridiculously huge weight. And he carries this thing around the whole game, because he pops up in various different places. I'm like, man, 1, that sucks. 2, all right, who is at this order that doesn't have their hands tied that sets this up for everybody else? I want to know who got that gig. So, because it feels like somebody there got a cop-out. Just saying. But
I got you.
But yeah, I mean, it's all kinds of just spectacular. I love the fact, too, that all the collectibles are random fucking body parts with stories attached to them.
Yeah.
I found a room, actually, that is literally just a display room for all those collectibles. It puts all the various body parts into like this fucking giant brick wall with bars and everything, and the body parts all show up behind the bars on display.
Okay.
I told my buddy, I'm like, the collectible display room is awesome. It's literally just a room with a wall with body parts and cages. He's like, oh, so it's like my basement. So, but yeah. So in any case, but I was going somewhere with this. My mind is now everywhere. It's about as scattered as this map. So, but again, it's tough as nails. I mean, the combat is not. No, I take it back. I was going to say it's not unfair, but that's not entirely accurate, actually.
No, it's fair.
Yeah, there's a few points where if you get hit once, it is way too easy to not get out of it until you're dead.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I've hit some of those, especially in the Celeste section of the game.
Okay.
Because there is a snowy peak mountaintop thing to climb. It's a very vertical section of the game, and on top of that, it even has the whole like wind blowing back and forth thing that'll fuck with your movement. And fuck that section, by the way. You can fuck that section almost as hard as you can fuck the White Palace from Hollow Knight. Fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
And to cap it off, to make matters worse, there's no save point in that section either. You have to muster your way through it. It's fucking nasty. The platforms are real fucking. There's not a lot of maneuvering room at all. With the wind kicking you around on top of that, it's like, oh, this is some bullshit. But I managed. But in any case, so yeah, there are some sections where the combat is honestly a little bit unfair. Like, you just start getting... You take that first hit and you're just getting bounced until you're dead.
Yeah, that was some of the combat mechanics that I was kind of... I just thought it wasn't tight enough, in a few places. But I like it. I like the game.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, for the most part, it is reasonably fair in the combat. It is tough. And it is similar to Hollow Knight in the respect that it's very methodical, very rhythmic, and you've got to know your timing. You've got to know your range. It all matters. I'm still trying to get a handle on the hitbox a little bit, though. It's kind of fucking weird. And that's the other thing, too, with the enemies. Sometimes trying to figure out what is part of their hitbox and what isn't is a little bizarre, because there is so much going on in terms of detail with the character designs. So, but yeah. So in any case, it really does open up. I mean, the first maybe 15 to 30 minutes of the game, you're like, okay, this is solidly linear. This feels kind of old school Castlevania, like, 1, 2, 3. But once you hit that first break point, it just the game takes two distinct branches up and down, and then even like from there pulls back across the that main stretch that you started off with. And one of the things that grabbed me, especially, it took me like 10 minutes to realize that's what I was looking at, is the Order of the Prostrate dude. He's a really fucking cool character. I like him a lot, actually. Just fucking weird, but I like him. I think the first time I came across him, he was talking about, telling me about this, the Bell of Hondo, and that it's this giant bell, but it was actually built and suspended upside down so that it would ring the earth. And it was really fucking cool. And there's this huge section that stretches across just underneath that opening section. And it's almost like one big long horizontal line to get across there. But you realize in the background, you're standing inside of the giant bell Hondo. You can see the lip of the bell is it curves off in the background. You can see the mountains in the back over the edge of Hondo the Bell. I'm like, fuck, that's cool. And it goes on for screens and screens and screens. I'm like, damn. And,
yeah, there's definitely some cool stuff in this game.
Oh yeah. But in any case, so it almost has a little bit of a Zelda-esque formula to it in the beginning too.
Yeah.
Because you open up and it's like, before you can get into like the super meat and potato shit, you must go first find the 3 visages, and then it bottlenecks again, and then it'll let you through into like what I can only assume is going to be this main huge section. But it's like, this is the beginning. Before you can do anything, find the 3 visages. And the 3 visages, I've gotten 2 so far, and the 2 bosses for those visages were phenomenal. The second one, Our Lady of the Charred Visage, was just fucking brutal. That shit kicked my ass for a solid 20 minutes. Jeez, and every time I got a little closer and a little closer and a little closer too. So I mean, I could literally watch myself getting better at it. So, which I will tell you, I appreciate life bars on boss fights. I really do. The Messenger doesn't have the life bars,
right?
But at least the Messenger has that sweet old school mechanic where when you get the boss like halfway down, it starts flashing. And then as it gets closer, it's flashing faster and faster and faster. It's like, nice Ninja Turtles throwback there. I like that.
Yeah, then you also get more nervous. Trying to beat him. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's it's so good. Oh, so worth the asking. And again, like, we talked about briefly before we started recording. The Metroidvania genre has been so flooded. No, flooded is not the right word, but it has definitely been lush.
Saturated.
Yeah.
Yep.
Over the last couple of years. So, I mean, there's steadily, always a really good handful of Metroidvania games coming out year over year for the last several years. And I think at this point, unless something real striking comes along, this may be the best Metroidvania for my money this year. So, I won't say it's the best one on Switch, because there's some really tough competition.
Yeah.
But it is definitely probably the standout for this year. And I can't even give it to a Robot Name Fight, because that was on Switch previously either. But again, Robot Name Fight is kind of a different category. It's not full-blown Metroidvania.
Nah, it's roguelike as well, yeah.
It is.
Well, so is this, though. But
no, this isn't roguelike. There's no random generation, and when you die,
that's true. That's true. Yeah, over. You're right.
It's missing those key genre components. I will say one thing I am definitely over at this point is the whole, when you die, you have to go find the last place you died to pick up your shit thing again.
Yeah, I know.
This game doesn't quite. It takes that idea though, and it does spin it a little. So it's not just go find your money or lose it if you die it. No. So, and I don't know how many times you've died to find this out yet, but when you die now, it leaves a guilt fragment where you died, and instead of losing all of your tears of atonement that you've collected, what it does is instead, one, it reduces the maximum amount of fervor that you can carry, or that you can obtain. So you'll see like the thorns wrap around your blue bar at the end, and the more guilt fragments you have scattered around, the more it takes over the bar, so the less fervor you can have to power your prayer abilities. 2, it makes it harder to obtain fervor, so when you're in combat and, dealing damage, you accumulate fervor to power those prayers. And so it reduces the amount of fervor that you're accumulating for that. And 3, it also reduces the amount of Tears of Atonement that you'll collect the more guilt fragments that you have spread around the world. And when you die, the last one doesn't disappear. They just keep going until you fucking pick them all up. So, the other thing too, though, is that, you know, they do have some spots where if you don't want to hunt them down, you can actually go and pay to have them all removed and pulled back. And the more guilt fragments you have laying around, the more expensive that gets.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's one of those where it's like, it's good to have, but it's one of those I would only really use it if you, like, died pushing into an area that was beyond where you should have been, and going back to get it is just going to lead to you dying again before you get there and make a bigger mess.
Okay.
So,
that's fair.
Which I will say, I ran into some of that with Hollow Knight, and man, that was fucking frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, you know, that's part of the lifeblood of the genre, is go explore, figure out your bounds, see how far you can push. But then when you get punished for it, and then stripped of progress, essentially, as a result, that just makes a bigger fucking mess, that shit pisses me off.
Yeah. It's almost not fair, in a way.
No. And that being said, the way that Blasphemous handles this, I actually kind of like better than how Hollow Knight did in that respect, because, again, you die a second time, and the last one doesn't just disappear and you're fucked. It just makes another one, and you have to go find them all.
Right.
So...
Right.
You're not super screwed for it. It'll definitely kick you in the nuts and go, you don't belong here, bitch. Get back. But it's not going to make you make a bigger mess of things in order to try and undo the damage, so to speak. I mean, you certainly can if you're not fucking smart and you get, greedy about it. Which I think that's another thing that fits real well with this, is that whole, if you try and, get impatient and get greedy in your combat and in your play, it will definitely fucking punish you for it. And that feels real fitting, is, that's one of the 7 deadly sins.
Yep.
So that does not feel out of place at all. So it plays thematically real well with that. I like that idea, as a matter of fact. That kind of pleases me greatly. But yeah, the whole thing, just the setting, though, is so, the world is awful. All must repent. You will be tormented, and you will live an existence of pain and suffering for all sins, and rejoice in your misery kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, man, it leans into it so hard too. Like, if it had stopped short of where it was, it would have landed on like campy and funny.
Yeah.
But it manages to push past that into the, oh, fuck me, this is just awesome, and I'm hooked on this idea now.
Right.
So, but it goes so full tilt with it, and it's all the better for it. Like, that's a real weird target to nail, too.
Mm-hmm.
And they definitely hit it on the mark. So, big ups to Team 17 and Game Kitchen there. Which, it's so weird to think, too, man. Like, it used to be Team 17, the only thing you fucking knew Team 17 for was worms.
That's true. And
now they've got all this shit coming out.
Yeah, and then the Game Kitchen, too, is Spanish studio, which, if people don't know, so they do have that big archive of, Catholicism to pull from, and they do it in this game hard, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if religious iconography, being used in entertainment means offends you, this is not the game for you.
No.
But I mean, if you're totally down with some of that weird, freaky shit, let's get it on. So, because it's happening. It is $25, well spent. That being said, on Switch, I know it was on sale. I don't know if it still is. I think it is. It should be. It was like $22.50.
Yeah,
it's not
that's
a
how I
huge
got it.
discount,
Yeah.
But Steam, there is actually a digital deluxe version with the digital art book, though. This is definitely, and I know it feels like we say this about everything, this is one that deserves a well-crafted physical edition. Like, I don't want this shit in Steelbook. That feels wrong to me. Like, this should be in some weird, like, leather-bound, case that kind of looks like a fucking biblical manuscript thing. It's got blood stains on the pages from a self-flagellating Catholic, and which that reminds me there you have some of those in there too. Those are some of the enemies running around. They've got like the little flagellation whip things that they'll sit there and kick your ass with. But yeah, I mean it's kind of like if you took Castlevania, stripped out the whole vampire thing, left in all the religious stuff, and multiplied it by like 1 billion.
Yeah, I know. Gave
it a touch of Spain. So, but I do not have enough good things to say about this. And don't get me wrong, like I said, I do have some nitpicks myself. One of them being mini-map motherfucker.
Yeah.
Here's another weird one too. It's not a deal breaker by any means, but this is fucking weird to me. So when you pull up the map, you hit the minus button, right?
Yes.
You can't hit the minus button to close the map. You got to hit the B button to close the map.
Yeah, that is kind of a pain in the ass, right?
But when you do, there's no way to escape it. You got to pay attention to where you are when you hit the map, because when you hit the B button, it doesn't just close the map. It automatically makes your character jump because it's doing the game input at the same time.
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed it, check it out.
Yeah, you're right.
I've experimented with that. I'm like, I wonder if this is just... No. It's doing a weird thing.
That sucks.
So, you got to be mindful of where you stop to pull up your map and make sure you have clearance to jump when you get out of it. So, I will say, my other nitpick is this. And if you haven't hit a point where this has come up yet, you will.
Okay.
Metroidvanias, this is like a mechanic that feels wrong to me in a Metroidvania, is the whole bottomless death pit thing. They are in this game. The problem is, it's real hard to tell which jumps lead to bottomless pits and which jumps don't.
So you're just going to jump on everything?
Kinda, and that's the other thing too, is the bottomless pit doesn't just go, oh, take some damage, I'm going to put you back on the ledge. No, that's instant death.
Okay.
And then on top of that, there are some that are not bottomless pits, but they fucking look like it. And some of them you got to look real hard for the fucking clues to figure out if it is or isn't. And then on top of that, you've got like other spots. Like I'm hitting screens, I'm hitting rooms where I can ladder down to the room below. If I go about half the room over, at that same level, bottomless instant kill pit. Like, why does this pit not just drop me into the next room?
Right.
Where did this pit go that I just instantly died? Like, some of the map room layout shit doesn't seem to quite line up right, and that's weird and it sits wrong with me. But again, it's a fucking nitpick at this point. The meat and potatoes, the soul of the game is there and it's right.
Right.
So, but that's just one of those things that is a connoisseur of the genre that doesn't sit right with me. But it's not enough to make me just go, fuck this bullshit. Though I will say there have been some deaths that I'm kind of like, fuck this is bullshit. Side note too, also if you haven't hit it and you don't want to experiment but you're curious, when you find the spikes, they are instant kill as well. It's not, you land in the spikes, take some damage and try and get the hell. No. You land in the spikes, you're dead. That's it. Done. So those are some forewarnings for you to be on the lookout for. Because they really kind of don't. That's, come to think of it, that's a video game trope in general that I think needs to fucking stop, is making you guess whether spikes are going to be just damage instant kill.
Yeah, I hear you.
This should be listed somewhere. If your game has fucking spikes in it, I need to know if it's going to kill me or just hurt. Because there's a big difference in how I will treat that.
That's true. Yeah. Are you going to try to get through it? Or are you just going to, are you just going to be like, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
That tells me if I'm going to nope the fuck out of a room, until later, or if I'm going to look and go, yeah, I got 75% health, I can make that.
I'll try it. Yep, and maybe you'll kind of twitch to the other side.
Right.
Yeah.
So, something to think about. There you go. That's your video game insight for the week. That's you will never look at a game with spikes the same again because it won't tell you. You'll have to guess. And if you guess wrong, you're really pissed.
I mean, isn't most of the time, like 99% of the time, you can survive getting hit by a spike?
I don't know.
At least one time, right?
Maybe it's my personal experience, but I feel like it's always a 50-50 coin flip.
Okay. Because, I always feel like, you know what, I'm going to try this, and 99% of the time, I don't die. I just, get back to where I'm starting. I'm like, okay.
Right. I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's just because there's so many Mega Man games with lots of spikes that are instant death. That skews the percentage level right there.
Yeah, probably.
But that's what I've been playing. And I'm looking at the timer, so that gives us a great place to stop for a few minutes and take a quick break. And we're back with the third half of the show. This week, we're going to head on over to the news desk. So, couple smaller things that we kind of want to expound on and explore this week that cropped up in news this week. Actually, really recent, just within the last day or two, as a matter of fact.
Yep.
I think let's jump off with the E3 talk already, because God, it's fucking early to be talking about E3.
Feels like it, but it's not. If you're planning on going if you're a company, you need to know.
Right. I say if you're a company, this is pertinent shit. I mean, if you're attending, not as much.
Not so much, not yet.
There's some stuff being talked about in here that's kind of pertinent to some of the bigger media outlets that are going to be there, but I mean for the average schmuck that is going, which reminds me,
well, nice for somebody like us, because if we want, they're going to expand stuff. So
yeah,
hopefully.
that reminds me, we got to talk later. So
yeah,
but in any case, so some stuff apparently changing with next year's E3 from the previous format. One of the things is that they're now setting it up so that you can, if I caught this right, they're scheduling a lot of the showings and everything, so you're not just standing in line for hours and hours and hours on end, waiting to check something out, which I think is kind of nice. I assume that they're probably blocking out set amounts of time and setting it up, and I think that'll make for a much more efficient experience, being able to actually get to see, do, and cover more at your time there. Having those showings and appointments kind of booked out all over the place.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you've ever gone to PAX or gone to another convention and you're standing in line the whole day for one thing, this will be awesome for you, because you can schedule your time, go do something else, come back, get into kind of almost like how Disney does it with the fast pass kind of lanes, where you just kind of jump in and you're 20 minutes, you're in your ride, you go on, then you go on to the next thing, and you can do whatever you want, and you're not just sitting all day in lines, which is nice.
Yeah, that's a much needed and I think it will be a well received change to the format. The other thing that kind of jumped out at me and made me giggle a little bit is the Q-tertainment, where they're gonna have stuff set up so that you have shit to do while you're standing in line for hours on end,
and you'll have either celebrities and or actors,
right,
that'll be there with you playing games or talking to you, or I guess kind of whatever they want to do,
I mean, honestly, it feels to me like what should be happening here is there should be a slew of just stations set up, so that you get in and they're all timed demos. So you jump in, you hit the first station in somebody's booth, and you play whatever the demo is for 10, 15 minutes. It times out, and then you're just shuffling to the next one to the right, and then it just kind of keeps a line moving and flowing through like that. I think would be a great way to do that, honestly, rather than paying people to just like fucking hang out in line with you. Seems a little weird.
I think it's because they're trying to give the person the choice of which line to be in and stuff like that. So, because you're going to schedule these things out. So, like, I mean, obviously it's going to happen where there's going to be a line that's like 4 hours long. It's just going to happen.
Right.
That's just the way it is. And I mean, I don't know about you, but if I go to these things or if I am in a line for that long, I'm usually tapping out way before that.
Right. I mean, that's a gnarly fucking line for most anything, honestly. But there are some booths where you're just going to fucking expect it because it's been that way and it will always be that way.
Well, Nintendo booth is always one. Like you can wait in line. That's an all-day line to get into the booth, not even to play a game, but just to get into their booth.
Yeah.
And it's like always one theme. I think maybe this year it was Pokemon, if I want to say right. Maybe it was, or maybe that was last year. I'm not sure, but they do
I don't
like
remember
one.
What the fucking theme was this year.
Yeah, but they do like one thing, and people like are lined up all day just to get into that booth, which to me is crazy.
Oh, it's absolutely fucking batshit.
Yeah, and then along with this too, we should mention that they're gonna expand the number of gamer passes that they give out, which means basically just the non-media people. They're gonna by 10,000 people, so
right,
it's gonna allow a lot more people to go, which is great because I mean I know a lot of people want to go. It's more like a bucket list thing for them. They just want to go.
Those lines are gonna get even more brutal.
Right, and I think that's why some of this they're trying to do it early enough. So that either people can plan for it or these developers and people that go, they can actually tweak the way they offer things.
Right.
I mean, because E3, is an industry, it wasn't a professional industry show for years.
Yeah.
Years. It had nothing to do with the consumer, really.
That's part of how it became this holy mecca thing because,
right.
It was not an open to the public thing. So
yeah, you had to kind of you had to either know somebody or you had to be media to get in. And now they're saying they're going to do like maybe one media day, right, and then the other like 4 days or 3 days are going to be open to everybody, kind of like Gamescom does this, but obviously Gamescom is 600,000 people or whatever. It's way bigger than
that's a whole different beast.
Yeah,
plus,
but it's
on top
similar.
of that too. I mean, Gamescom also doesn't really have, even though it's bigger, at the same time, it also doesn't have the same clout that E3 does either, because it's not. I mean, look at this year. There was, hardly a fraction of like news and announcements coming out of Gamescom that came out of E3 or that comes out of E3 on a regular basis.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot to do with E3's history. E3 was this, you get these pressers, you'd get the next big thing coming out, so people could order their inventory and all that, and they were excited. Yeah, so I mean, and not only that, but the United States is a huge market. I mean, Europe is a huge market too. But the way that E3 was set up, it was for the big developers to go, and it was this big spectacle. And it was the time of year that every single news outlet, no matter if you were Time Magazine, Game Informer, IGN, whatever, everybody looked at the gaming industry. So it's that time of year everybody gets to shine. And I think that they're really leaning into that, which is honestly super smart.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to say the least to see what comes out of it next year and see how this plays out, because this is not the first time that they've played with overhauling the format. It was a number of years ago where they overhauled the format and like really spread it out over multiple locations and everything. and then
Yeah.
did a whole separate thing for the public, and I don't think that landed particularly well, because we eventually made it back to the format that it is now.
Yeah, I mean, part of it, I think, too, is the cost to developers. Like, a lot of people don't realize, but developers have to pay the ESA, the Electronic Software Administration. They have to pay them to go to E3. And then when they set up their booths, they have to pay them for all the equipment to set up their booths with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a huge cost. And if they're not seeing the bang for their buck with, like, their fans, which they could do now with YouTube, just get influencers and they give them copies and...
Right. Well, that, and you've got smaller stuff too that's now getting just as much of an impact, if not more.
More, probably.
Smaller developers like PAX.
Well, look at, like, I mean, I don't want to, like, shine on us so much, but our little small podcast, I mean, we get people come on all the time. You know, we got Matt Bittner. You know, we get developers. We've had lots of people. Yeah, lots of people. And it's because they realize these small little places, they reach lots of people. And they reach the people that they want, the people that are actually using their product. It's not just some...
I mean, we don't, but, you know.
No, everybody else does. Yeah. Some big mega corporations, you know.
So, but yeah, I mean, there are tons of, you know, avenues, you know, like this that, you know, have a huge reach that, you know, they can do that with at zero cost.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
You know, I mean, I will be the first person to admit that there have been interviews that I've caught on other shows, other podcasts, where I'm like, okay, you know, this was one that I did not know about. It wasn't even on my fucking radar, but after catching this, I'm fucking into it. Let's do this.
Yeah, I'm the same
way. But that's what's shaking with E3 potentially for next year. Other stuff, looking at smaller developers getting bang for their buck and trying to figure out how to get traction. Article came out of, I want to say it was Kotaku?
Yes.
Was it? Okay.
Yep.
I caught it reposted on Facebook, honestly. So
I think it was Kotaku. Yeah, I'm looking right now. I think it is, yeah.
But in any case, talking about, you know, indie devs, or smaller developers and games, trying to figure out how to get traction on the Switch eShop, and giving an explanation finally for why we see some of the sales that we do, where and God knows it works. I've fucking bought into it. It's a matter. I talked about one of these just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know, I picked up Membrane on the cheap because it was, you know, like 30 some fucking cents or some shit like that, and you know, I'm like, I'm not even thinking about it. You know, it's less than $1. Fuck it. Worst case scenario, I don't dig it. Best case scenario, it's pretty fucking slick. You know, and others like, you know, Robot Named Fight, where, you know, it went on sale for $2, and it fucking, you know, flew through the roof in terms of, you know, suddenly being on people's radar, despite having been on the eShop for like a year plus. And so what you know, what kind of came to light here, and Matt was actually interviewed for this article too, for this piece, and basically, you know, what they're getting at is that with the way the eShop works, you know, you sometimes, as a smaller developer or publisher, you get a little bit of visibility, hopefully, on the coming soon page, which, you know, the coming soon page isn't even really all encompassing of what's coming up. It's just, you know, it's select stuff, and then give it a week or two and you are completely out of sight, because there's so much stuff coming out so fast,
and it's so uncurated too. It's
right.
It's just wild west of the eShops, you know.
It is.
Yep.
And I mean, there's something to be said for that. I kind of appreciate that fact to a degree. But, you know, coming from the developer side, I can definitely understand the frustration. I wouldn't mind having, you know, some features or curation or some splits where, you know, it breaks it up and goes, here's all the indie stuff, or, you know, something simple like, oh my god, can we get some fucking ratings on there, please?
Yeah.
Just
Even
I don't care
community rate. I don't care if they're community.
Yeah.
I would love the community
rating.
To be able to
I
rate.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what needs to happen. Is it needs to be community rating. I don't give a shit about the Metacritic score.
No.
Talk to me about the people that have been fucking playing this shit.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I want on there. You know, let me know how this is, you know, faring in the public eye.
We are talking about Switch too. You know, Nintendo. So
Mm-hmm.
we're probably a generation out here, Larry.
Yeah, bare minimum. But
unfortunately, I mean,
I swear there used to be something like that on previous platforms too. I think there was.
I believe there was like a star rating or something they could do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even care if they get to type.
The Wii U.
I don't care if they get to even type like, you know, a review. I just want a star rating.
I don't even want the fucking typed. Just give me fucking star ratings. That's all
like
I need.
5 out of 5. Just
yeah, that's all it needs.
Just tell me, or even out of 10. Just tell me how good you think it is.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
So that would help tremendously, but we're not there. What's a shame is, like I said, we used to be there. They used to have something along those lines, and I'm pretty sure it was the Wii U that had it, now that I'm thinking about it.
We used to be there, and the Wii U, okay.
Yeah, huh?
We're getting tired, so.
we're heading into dad joke territory.
Kathleen's not here to reel us back, so.
So, but yeah, and but in any case, so these developers are using like mega discount sales to get traction because they're trying to find the sweet spot between, you know, not, you know, grossly undervaluing their games, but to also find the right price point where somebody like me and you will pick it up without thinking about it because it's, you know, $2, $1 less.
Reasonable, yeah. Yeah, there's lots of stuff.
Price is unreasonable, but when you see that, you're like, you know, that's $1. I'll buy that for $1. I don't even know what the fuck it is, but I'll buy that for $1.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it then further fuels because now they're getting featured on the deals page, and then, you know, if they hit that sweet spot and it spikes their sales, then they're, you know, with any luck, they show up on the you know, on the best-selling page, which gives them that extra pump of visibility as well. So, because that best-selling page isn't looking at, you know, profit or dollars right then, it's just talking pure copies sold. So,
yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's a real, for lack of, the pun's inevitable here. I can't get around it. You know, it's gaming the system a little.
Yeah.
But you almost have to. And again, I had no way around that pun. I just did. Actually, that's a double pun, gaming the system. But anyways, but yeah, no, I mean, it's clever as shit. I mean, honestly, I feel like there's a certain win in there for him too, because even if it was, you know, being curated and featured at full price, you know, you're probably not going to get that much traction and, you know, publicity out of it at full price as you do when you do those major discounts. You know, Robot Named Fight really didn't seem to blow up publicly until, you know, they put it on sale for $2. And then it was, you know, seriously getting talked about because all of a sudden it's in a lot more people's hands, and, you know, and a lot of that carries past that sale as well. So even when the sale ends and it's back to full price, you know, those that didn't jump on it at the time are still going to be hearing about it from those that didn't. Go, dude, phenomenal fucking game, worth it even at full price.
I even think that even the people that bought cheap, like you and I, you know, like, then we'll look that game up on Google and we'll start seeing that, you know, Matt has a Patreon where if you want to support him for $1 a month or $2 a month, you can do it. And he'll make his money back that way in a grassroots effort to build a great community, you know, and so that's kind of cool that they're starting to do that.
Which, by the way, again, you know, if you haven't picked it up yet, go pick up Robot Named Fight, because again, for the $12 or $13, you're getting a ton of game, and on top of that, he's not done yet. He's still pumping out more content for this. Like, holy shit! Just laying it on.
Well, not only that,
So-
but he's super active on like his Patreon, and he's
Oh,
super
yeah.
active in his community. If you want to actually talk to a developer of a game you like, get on there and talk to him. He talks to you, and you like even when we had him on here, we asked him things that we thought we wanted, and he's like, yeah, I'm working on that, or I'm not really thinking of that, or no, that's a stupid idea, basically.
Right.
But said it in a nice way. But
Yeah.
but I mean, at least he's talking to you instead of being these guys in the ivory tower that's like, no, you know what?
Oh yeah.
We're not doing anything you want.
No, so many of the indie devs are just phenomenal at getting involved in the community and with the people that play their games. It's a whole different era, in terms of interacting with the artist that makes the art that we consume. And that's really fucking cool. Hell, there's even been some that I've gotten to talk to that we haven't had on the show, but there's been some interaction with, in particular, and I would kill to get to have even just a full blown off the record interview with them. But I did have some email correspondence with him in talks and trying to get him to come on the show, in which he declined. But even the likes of Phil Fish, really, really super nice guy. Even an email, even though he turned it down, which understandable considering everything. But even then, just
He at least talked to you.
Yeah.
He at least told you no. He didn't just ignore you.
Yeah, and even past that, we actually conversed a little bit.
Right.
It was kind of cool. So.
Right.
He saw the pictures of Olivia's room, the parts that are done on the walls, and he's like, "That's fucking amazing."
Yeah.
So, which you haven't seen it, but it got started, and unfortunately, the person that was doing it has been a little hard to nail down. But one of her walls is done, but it's all done in a huge full wall mural of a scene from Fez.
That's cool.
So. It was real pretty. Duke did gorgeous work on that. But in any case, he's also a busy boy, so trying to get him to come back up here and fucking finish the room. Duke! Anyways. But, I can't even be mad at him, though. That dude is like the fucking king of hustle. You've never seen a fucking harder working man. Holy shit. That dude just busts his ass all the time. But in any case, but no, I mean, it fascinates me to see them try and find the sweet spot. And, it kind of, I would love to see too, that's another thing aside from the ratings, I would love to actually get to see them, I'd love to see them posting numbers, on how many copies sold.
Well,
Sure, we've got the bestsellers list, but it doesn't really tell you anything other than rankings, and so I'd be real curious to see some of that sold, and or see how many copies of that game have sold, at least digitally. I mean, I know you can't necessarily post and track that on the eShop for everything, but at least the digital sales I'd be real interested in. And again, maybe that's why they don't, because so much of what's on the eShop has physical that they can't track those numbers to and put together in a cohesive way. I don't know, but
I think it has more to do with just they don't want people to know how many they sold.
Right, which I'm curious as to why. What's the perk in bearing that information?
It's the same reason why Microsoft won't tell us how many Xbox Ones are sold. They just don't want this he said, she said, or this tit for tat, or they don't want the fanboy. They just if you want it, get it. And they just want to create a great value and a buzz around it. Right. They don't want people buying it just because everyone else is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like they did with Gears, Gears 5. They said 3 million people played this game on the opening weekend. Mm-hmm. But they actually sold very few copies because it's all on Game Pass.
Yeah.
So how do you start tracking this stuff now?
Right, and that's the other thing too, is that the the ways of playing the game do not mean that you are purchasing a full price, admission ticket to play that game as well. And so
Right.
tracking those numbers, at least in terms of shit like Game Pass, now gets real fucking weird.
Yeah, because now it's a service, so it's like Netflix. Like they'll say like, oh, well, this is the most watched thing on Netflix, but
Yeah.
nobody bought that. They just watched it.
Right.
And I think we're in this state of flux with the game industry. We're in this real state of flux between the physical, the digital, the service, the not service. They're trying to jive and trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, and it's a real weird, do we juke left, juke right? How do we?
Yeah, exactly.
I tell you what I think would do the Switch a world of good, and I'd love to hear some indie developers' feedback on this too. I mean, especially the likes of like Matt, because I think he's one that I could see really seeing the benefit out of this in particular. And maybe I'm totally off base. I might actually shoot him a message later just to shoot the shit with him about it. I'm curious now. He and I have still been conversing back and forth on their Twitters, which, by the way, he is also solidly active on Twitter. So if you want to talk to him, shoot him a message on Twitter. He's actually usually pretty good about getting back to you. But in any case, my next thought would be, because of how much of an indie powerhouse the Switch is, which reminds me, by the way, just weird throwback thing. That was so my dream for the Ouya when it came out. I'm like,
I
this
know.
could be the fucking indie powerhouse.
I think that's why everyone. I mean, I was one of them. I pre-ordered the Ouya. I have one here. I cry over it a lot, but it was that machine. It could have been, but
it was supposed to be. Yeah,
the Switch is the machine that the Ouya was supposed to be.
And then some.
Yeah, and then more, because it's got Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, that, and it's the Switch. It's, I can play it on my TV. I can play it on the shitter.
Yeah.
So,
unless you have a Switch Lite, just on the shitter.
Right. Yeah. So, I'm sure.
It's a whole nother conversation.
Dude, I cannot wait till that actually hits the fucking market and somebody figures out whether or not they can actually use like a weird third-party dock. Yeah, it's a big question as to whether or not the hardware is actually in it, attached to that USB port. Because there are right, so I'm real curious to see how that shakes out. Because man, if they pull that off, like if it's actually just still in there but just not built for, you've got some dock options that are literally like just a fucking cord to the USB port that you could hypothetically use that still and get in the door $100 cheaper.
Yeah, that's true.
So. I'm real curious now.
I don't think Nintendo's going to do that, but...
Probably not, but you never know. They've done weird shit.
Yeah, but they know their stuff gets hacked and instantly taken apart, so...
So, be real curious to see how that shakes out. But in any case, back to where I was going with this, is that I would I would throw money at this so hard. I'd give you an extra $20-25 a month. I might even push it to $30 a month, honestly. But if Nintendo did a game, and hear me out here, because this is not going to go exactly the way you think, but okay. I want a Game Pass style subscription on my Switch. I don't want any of the big AAA games, anything like that. I want an all indie Game Pass.
Okay.
Like rotate in, because at this point the library's fucking big enough. We can do that. 100 games in there, give or take. Every month in indies, because let's face it, there's enough. And maybe rotate like 10 to 20 out every month, and then bring in another 10 to 20 to replace them every month. I think it could be totally on board. And that's the other thing too. You gotta put on, and so they, once you get into that rotation, any game stays on there for what, maybe like 5 months,
5-6 months, sure.
Yeah, that's solidly respectful to figure out if you're into it and you want to buy it and own it. And
The one thing I love that Game Pass does is if you do buy a game, you get a 20%. You get a discount.
That's the other thing too.
That's
that
the
should
deal.
absolutely be there, you know. But they need to have on there clearly marked when it came to Indie Pass. We're gonna call it Indie Pass now.
Okay.
It's been named. We've already done the hard work, Nintendo. Just put it together. But yeah, so you know when it came to Indie Pass and when it's leaving, because that makes that needs to be clearly marked, because it makes a big difference as to, you know, if you're just signing up for Indie Pass and there's that much shit, what do you play first?
Well, Game Pass does this kind of, but they don't tell you. It's a wild free for all. So when you get when you first get in there, start downloading. You know that all the Nintendo or the Xbox first party stuff is going to be there forever.
Yeah.
So if you see something you like, you download it, and if you really like it, keep playing it. They do tell you when it's leaving, like 2 weeks before. They're like,
yeah,
this game's leaving, this game's leaving, this game's leaving. Even after it leaves, you can still buy it for a discount. So, I mean, that's a good idea. But honestly, not much shit is left. I'm a Game Pass subscriber now for almost a year. And anything I've been playing, there's only been one game, I think, that left. And I was kind of done with it anyway. So I was like, let it go. But I think they got way over 100 games now on there. And it's big. $10 a month. What I love about it, too, is that they can fund games directly into Game Pass now, like the Blair Witch.
Yep.
Now, I haven't played that yet, but I downloaded it. I want to get into that. That was launched right into Game Pass. So they were able to, you know, pay the developer enough money that they're like, hey. And that's where this could really come in handy for the Switch. It could be almost like a slush fund for them, so these developers don't lose all this money. Almost like what Epic Games is doing on the PC side. But you just kind of say, hey, launch into Game Pass, we got this X amount of money for you.
Yeah.
You know, at least kind of recoup some of your development costs, so you're not just, you know, going back to work at Chick-fil-A or whatever after you're done.
Right,
you know?
which there's way more of that happening in the indie scene than I think a lot of people realize.
Oh, yeah. These guys, like, even Matt, you know, he's one guy. He said he was working, I think he said Petco before?
Yeah.
And he was just, like, teaching himself stuff on the side and building a game. You know, I mean, and that's awesome. But you got to give these guys support, otherwise they're just not going to be able to keep
There's not going to be another game again, yeah. So, like, if you don't strike it big, I mean, you're SO. I mean, you know, ask Adrian. You know, he'll tell you the fucking struggles of that. You know, coming off of Tuna Cycle, trying to get to the next one to do Bugs Are Stupid, and then, you know, coming off of that and trying to get to the next one to do Reading Rush. Yeah,
because I mean, unfortunately, the realities of life is we have bills and we have to survive, and you have a family, and you know, you at least should be able to make the amount of money you need to keep going.
Right.
You
that's a hard fucking fight.
Yeah.
So, but in any case, I don't know. I think we've solidly covered this. Anything else you want to toss in?
I don't think so. I think it's good.
Right on. Well, in that case, we're going to wrap here. You know, just that reminder, if you survived our bullshit this long, you should definitely be doing so on an ongoing basis with us, which means you should totally be checking us out on the reg at world11.podbean.com. You know, the usual, all spelled out, all one word. Apple Podcasts and Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter. That's all of it. So, with that said, big shout out to my homeboy Josh. Much love to Kathy, who had to dip out earlier. You know, we miss those that are not with us. Eddie, Dylan.
Yeah. Peel yourself away from WoW Classic, Dylan. And Eddie, I don't know.
Right now, I think it's Borderlands 3 at the moment.
Oh, yeah. But Eddie, I don't know what the hell you're doing, but get back in here. At least for an hour.
Like, it'd be nice if you showed the fuck up once in a while, Edward.
Yeah. No,
but
Dylan, I totally get Borderlands 3 because I have it, but I have not started it yet.
And much love to everybody that came and hung out with us for the last, hour plus and listened to our fucking nonsense. So with that said, good night, everybody. Peace.
Good night.